What if the secret to achieving more was not doing more, but doing less? What if the greatest enemy of extraordinary results was not laziness, not lack of talent, not bad luck, but the very thing most productive people pride themselves on? What if multitasking, long to-do lists, and trying to be great at everything was silently destroying your ability to be truly great at anything? Welcome to Book Essence, where we unlock the essence of every book so you get the wisdom without spending weeks reading. Today, we are breaking down one of the most focused, most practically powerful books on productivity ever written, The One Thing by Gary Keller. Gary Keller built one of the largest real estate companies in the world, Keller Williams Realty, and he says the secret to that success was not working on many things. It was always working on one thing. Let us unlock it. The entire book is built around one question, a question so simple it sounds almost too easy, yet so powerful that answering it honestly can redirect your entire life. Keller calls it the focusing question. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Read that again slowly. Not what are the 10 most important things I should do, not what is on my to-do list today. What is the one thing that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? This question forces a level of prioritization that most people never apply to their work or their lives, because most people treat everything as roughly equally important. They have long lists, they work through them item by item, they feel productive because they are always busy, but busy is not the same as effective, and a long list of average priorities will never produce the same results as an obsessive focus on a single extraordinary one. Keller says the most successful people in any field are not the ones who do the most things, they're the ones who identified the single most important thing and do it with complete, undivided, sustained attention until it is done at the highest possible level. The 6 lies of success. Keller identifies 6 widely believed ideas that he calls the 6 lies of success, beliefs that feel true that most people accept without question, but that quietly undermine extraordinary achievement. The first lie, everything matters equally. It does not. Some things matter enormously. Most things matter very little. The discipline of identifying which is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. The second lie, multitasking works. It does not. Research consistently shows that what we call multitasking is actually task switching, rapidly moving attention between activities, and every switch costs time, energy, and quality. The third lie, a disciplined life is required. Keller says you do not need discipline in everything. You need enough discipline to build the right habits, and then those habits carry you. The fourth lie, willpower is always on will call. It is not. Willpower depletes throughout the day. The most important work should be done when your willpower is at its peak, early in the day. The fifth lie, a balanced life is the goal. Keller argues that extraordinary results require extraordinary focus, which is inherently unbalanced. Balance is something you manage over time, not something you achieve in every single moment. The sixth lie, big is bad. Thinking small doesn't protect you from failure. It just guarantees small results. Thinking big, with a focused, specific plan, is the only path to extraordinary outcomes. One of the most immediately practical sections of this book is about the relationship between the size of your thinking and the size of your results. Keller argues that most people dramatically underestimate what they are capable of achieving, not because they lack ability, but because they set targets that are too small to require them to grow significantly. He introduces a concept called the Domino Effect. A single domino can knock over another 1.5 times its own size, which knocks over one 1.5 times bigger than that, which knocks over one bigger still. Starting with a 2-inch domino, through this progressive knockdown, you can eventually topple a domino the size of a skyscraper. This is what focused sequential achievement looks like. You don't need to solve the biggest problem first, you need to identify the first domino, the single action that sets everything else in motion, and knock it down with everything you have. Then identify the next domino and the next. Extraordinary results are not achieved through parallel effort, they're achieved through sequential focus, one domino at a time. Keller says the most important habit you can build is the habit of asking the focusing question every single day. Not once a year when you set goals, not once a month when you review your progress. Every single day, before you begin your most important work, ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do today such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Then, and this is critical, protect the time to actually do that one thing. Keller recommends blocking 4 hours every morning for your most important single priority. He calls this time blocking, and he's emphatic that it's non-negotiable. No meetings, no emails, no interruptions. Just you and your one thing for 4 unbroken hours. This is uncomfortable for most people. It feels selfish. It feels like you're ignoring important things. But Keller argues the opposite. By protecting the time for your most important work, you actually produce more genuine value than you ever could by being perpetually available and constantly interrupted. The people who change their fields, build great companies, and create lasting impact are not the ones who are most responsive. They're the ones who protect their focus most fiercely. Keller makes an important point about the relationship between focus and mastery. When you repeatedly direct your best energy and attention towards a single area over an extended period of time, something remarkable happens. You begin to see patterns others miss. You develop intuitions others do not have. You build skills that compound in ways that make you increasingly valuable and increasingly effective. This is what mastery actually looks like, not a dramatic leap from beginner to expert, but the quiet, consistent accumulation of focused hours over months and years. Keller references research showing that world-class performers in virtually every field, music, sport, chess, mathematics, share one common characteristic. They spent more time in deliberate, focused practice on the single most important skill in their domain than their less successful peers. This is accessible to anyone, not just the naturally gifted, not just the formally educated, anyone who is willing to identify their one thing and give it their best attention consistently over time. The final dimension of the one thing moves beyond productivity into something deeper. Keller argues that the most powerful version of the focusing question is not just about your daily work, it applies to your entire life. What is the one thing I want to achieve in my career? What is the one relationship I most need to invest in right now? What is the one habit that would most transform my health? What is the one contribution I want to be remembered for? When you apply this level of clarity to the biggest questions of your life, something profound shifts. Your daily decisions become easier because you know what they're building toward. Your energy becomes less scattered because it's directed by a clear, meaningful purpose. Your ability to say no increases because you know exactly what you're saying yes to. Gary Keller ends with a simple but powerful observation. The most successful people are not the busiest people, they're the most focused people. They have asked and honestly answered the hardest question. They know their one thing, and they show up for it every single day. Let's bring together the greatest lessons from the one thing. 1. Ask the focusing question every single day. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? 2. Reject the 6 lies of success. Not everything matters equally. Multitasking is a myth. Willpower depletes. Balance is managed over time, not achieved in every single moment. 3. Think bigger than feels comfortable. Small targets require no real growth. Big targets, pursued with focused, sequential action, change everything. 4. Time block your one thing every morning. 4 unbroken hours, your best energy, your most important priority. Protect it like nothing else matters, because in that moment, nothing else does. 5. Mastery comes from focused repetition over time. Not talent, not luck. Consistent, deliberate, focused effort on the single most important thing in your domain. 6. Apply the focusing question to your whole life, your career, your relationships, your health, your legacy. Clarity of purpose makes every daily decision simpler and more powerful. Gary Keller ends with a truth that is both challenging and liberating. You have only so much time and energy. Every yes is a no to something else. Choose your one thing wisely and give it everything. That's the essence of the one thing. And that is what we do here at Book Essence. We take the world's most powerful books and unlock their wisdom so you can start focusing on what truly matters today. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to simplify their focus. Every week on Book Essence, a new book, a new lesson, a new chance to grow. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep unlocking your essence. See you in the next one.